I'm truly delighted to welcome you today to celebrate the Excite premiere together. For 10 years, I've been a customer with AX, and I remember how it started. I read an article that it's a cool company in Stuttgart which can create product descriptions. And we took our head of technology and went to Stuttgart right away. And it was very small office. And there was a camera in the corner uh, there where the product text were generated based on Excel. And we liked it a lot. And ever since then, we've been a customer. And most of you know how this has developed over the years. And we got together here to see the next step. And Simon, I'm already very excited to see what you are going to present to us and have fun together and also online. I would also like to welcome you online and all those who are sitting here. It's great to have you here. And it's a great day for all of us. And I'm a little nervous, to be honest. Not that I would be the only one to speak, but it's a very important thing for us. And this development we are currently taking is a huge challenge and has been a huge challenge. And it would not have been possible without help from the outside. What is very important today, before I welcome our guests, is to say thank you to our team because they did it all. Many developers are here of AX. Thank you very much for doing this. Thanks to the whole team. And without this team, this product would not have been implemented the way it is. We looked at a lot at copy research, and we're also very happy to have our guest here and we want to do everything to build the product in a way that that the customers also want to buy it. And the feedback we got, we want to include it into the product, and this is a very decisive factor for our success. 2.5 years ago, we carried out a research project together with Reitlingen University, and Daniel is going to speak to us about that today, and he will present the scientific side of Excite, because without data, there is no AI, and I need data, of course, and Daniel and his team were responsible for developing the foundations, the scientific foundations. And as this is extremely expensive, Ms. Eckert, thank you very much for being here. We were subsidized by the land of Baden-Württemberg, the Ministry for the Economy. They invested a comprehensive amount of money for us to be able to do what we're doing here today. And this is an important contribution because it needs a lot of money to undertake this huge task because we're not in the Silicon Valley, we are in the Neckar River Valley, and it needs a lot of support by all those who are not investors, because the big amounts of money the American startups get, think about OpenAI as one of the examples, we don't get that much money, and Sebastian knows how difficult it is to develop AI applications, and without the comprehensive funds of the investors, it wouldn't be possible. And this is why we managed to create a super product. Why can I stand here and say this? Because I'm selling? No. I spoke to almost 70 customers in person. I presented the solution, and I have to say that the feedback I got, and I'm telling it with pride and gratitude, the feedback was really overwhelming. I would never have thought that the customers would be so enthusiastic about the solution, the way in which we implemented it, the way in which we think that editorial work will further develop in the next years. And if we look back the next 7 years, when the automation of content was developed to where we are standing today. And I'm looking towards the future, another 7 years ahead, and I'm pretty confident that the business will be turned around again from automation to data-driven content operations. And this is the expectations I have regarding this product, and it's a big expectation, but I'm sure that we will achieve it. Enough said. Professor Dr. Daniel Palm, I'd like to ask you to come to the stage to speak to us about the scientific work you carried out. And I give the floor to you right away. Thank you very much, Simon. From data to deeds, so to speak. Let me switch over to the presentation mode. And I'd also like to welcome all those who are connected online and welcome to all those who are here. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak from the point of view of the second research partner, in addition to AX Semantics. We are Werk 150. We do applied research because we work at a University of Applied Science. And I think that's the project that was implemented fastest from research to the implementation, that the first pilots were already done in the project phase, because formally only in December 2024 we would have started. And this is why it's great to see that we already have some feedback from the actual implementation. That doesn't happen that often because what do? We try to bring basic research into applications, to translate it into the practice through companies, but usually it doesn't happen that fast. I am professor for logistics, supply chain management. This means that our research team deals with data processing in networks, but mostly in the field of industrial environments and not necessarily in e-commerce where you are based. The project was subsidized by the Ministry of Baden-Württemberg for Economy. It was about the development of AI-based language technologies for the further development of automated text creation, including multilingual translations, dynamic content, and self-learning text optimization to reduce text creation effort. That was the bulky title, and we worked on that for 2 years, and there are some months to come. But in August 2022, that was before the big hype of the LLMs, the large language models. We just thought it would come, but it wasn't there yet. So this means that we had to adapt the project a little bit to the modified framework conditions due to ChatGPT and the others. So why is data quality so important and is a basis, and why do we deal with that from an academic point of view and also in the industrial environment? I don't know if this Mars Climate Orbiter mission is known to you. It's always a very well-liked example. $125 million was the value, but it was a failure because some engineers, when they integrated the individual models into the orbiter, it didn't use Newton, but pound force, and then it used the brake, didn't use it fast enough on its way to Mars, and it burned. It was a nice fireworks in the atmosphere, but the results that people hoped for didn't materialize. And this is a problem we don't only have in space, but also on planet Earth. For instance, this is one of our lighthouse projects we carried out in e-commerce with e-bikes. That's a very good use case that we identified, and we spoke about it. So if you have a Fahrrad.de wanting to sell such a cube, they don't have any idea about how it is received, the product. So the product comes and they can advertise it on their website, but then they have to see what components are there. When taking pictures, they identify the different components that are built in the bike. They have a description, but not necessarily a detailed one. So only once they have it, they can publish it there. And then this changes over time. There are other components. And the consequence is that the workload that is needed to place the products and to describe them exactly, that's a high workload. And there is no structured information. And on the other hand, regarding when there's spare parts in question, up to 60% of potential customers abandon the spare parts purchase because they think it's too complicated, because they don't know if it fits their bike. And up to 40% of the spare parts purchased are returned, which for ecological reasons is a disaster. And we don't only have the problems in e-commerce, but in the whole of the industry. And this is usually our playground. And there are no standards for data exchange. The interfaces are lacking in the networks of added value, and there are only decentralized solutions. And we have to look at that. Mechanical engineering, the productivity in the last 15 years increased thanks to digitalization in mechanical engineering. Did it? It did not increase at all. And why? Because we worked on silo solutions using AI algorithms in isolated manners, data optimizations, etc. But we never looked at the whole supply chain. And at the end, there is no higher productivity, as there are inconsistent standards, as inconsistent interfaces are the order of the day, etc. So we are responsible for the academic part of the project, and there's something that is called the asset administration shell. And the German term is very sexy, Verwaltungsschale. And the administration shell tries to solve this problem. And it wasn't the Swiss developing it, but the Germans in the context of Industry 4.0. This is about lot size 1 production, and this is driven by Fraunhofer, by Bosch, Rexroth, Siemens, etc. So big companies, big corporations, and big projects. The German minister Altmaier also started Gaia X as a European data space, Catena X, Manufacturing X. These are large-scale projects the federal government is subsidizing to promote the data exchange. And then of course, we spoke about that with Simon and others, and we thought we need to use that. It's great if these standards do exist. How can we introduce that in your field of work, and how can we build our solution based on that? And it is with the asset administration shell. And what is it? It is the digital twin of our physical product. We have a physical product, and this product has a twin in the digital world, one-to-one twin. And with the administrative shell, we can standardize it. It is then standardized in different industries. With the administration shell, we can instance it, we can have a blueprint, and then we can derive real products from that, because such a product has its own life cycle. One product, the bicycle, for instance, has 1 kilometer, number X of kilometers with a power user, or none if it's only standing around. And different life cycles. Some say mine is new, but Max's vehicle, he drives to work every day, and it's not a new bicycle anymore. So this means that for each and every physical asset, we need a digital twin, which is different. And this is why we need the instances. We have different instances of one blueprint, and they can be connected. So we said, that's excellent. That suits us very well for our project. And we then mapped it for the e-bike. Again, this is the Lighthouse project, and the developer designs it and creates the administration shell. Then there's a physical product, and then there is one copy of it. And then when the frame is created, for instance, and then there are other copies, components, excuse me, that are added. And then the retailer gets the data set. The customer buys the product, and then this individual product can keep existing. And there's a connection between the physical and the digital world. So you know what spare parts are in the product, what is needed. All the data is there, also of the customer. And things are possible that aren't done that much with e-bikes. How can we recycle them? For instance, all the job bikes that will be returned, what do we do with them? How do we recycle them? So there are new business models that are possible. And this brings us back to Zyme. Every time there are new texts, new contact points with the customer, communication needs and occasions to sell something to the customer, or to inform you, to raise the service level of the customer, give information, and so on and so forth. And this is where AX Semantics comes into play with axite. in future. And this is the underlying idea, or the scientific background we have to depict and supply to the whole life cycle of the product. And there are some who already do so, but not the very big ones, Bosch and Siemens, etc. They do. There are smaller companies who also do it, that also do. Vago, for instance, they use the asset administration shell to update their product descriptions and to derive them from the database and to say this is a complete product documentation. And the digital twin can also be used for control cabinets. It can be taken over, it can be adapted and can be used, and other things are already included. And this can be used as a service for the customer and also for the communication with the customers. And in order to have a smooth and flawless cooperation in the entire supply chain. Then there is another example where AAS can be used excellently. That is the digital product passport. I don't know if you are familiar with that. This is shaped by the EU. It's going to be an obligation as of February 2027 for batteries that exceed 2 kilowatt. For instance, our scooters and e-bikes, the accumulators, the batteries are in there. And information is provided in this digital product passport, and that's the basis for our AAS. The basis is the asset administration shell, and the information is collected and the digital product passport is produced. And at the end of the life cycle, the question is, what does the life cycle contain? Where do the individual components come from? All this is included, what raw materials are in there, how long has it been used, and how can this product be disassembled, recycled, in order to get back into the circular economy. And this is the nice thing about the AAS, that at the end of the life cycle, of the first life cycle, there's a lot of information about what was done with the product, and this can be used for another cycle. And this is why we think this is really great, because we can think along the lines much more of the circular economy. We don't want to throw things away, but we want to see to it selectively that my battery can be used again, and Max's maybe not, because it's been used up too much. So smart reuse, remanufacturing, smart cycles, all this shall be implemented in practice. What did we do in the project? The combination between AAS and this very broad standard, and we added the AX technology. We used the AAS. I think that's the first time that this was done in this project. We used the AAS, which you see on the left-hand side, and on the left-hand side you see AAS and the structured data, and on the other side you see the outcome, the texts. Texts can be drawn up in very different languages, in many different languages differently, and reference is made in the AAS. So if there is a very good repetition frequency as compared to other products, a different text is used. And here you see the texts that are generated. They are different. And here you see the data, and the data structure from AAS is translated into the AX Semantics tool and in Axite. So this was one very important aspect, things we wanted to look at in the research project, and we implemented it in the research project. And this means, what did we do? We used the AI-supported automated text generation and optimization of the text, and Robert is going to dwell on this in a moment, without hallucinations. So that's the problem of the large language models, that we have an AI model just inventing certain things. We don't need that for our product text, because we need precision. We don't just need a nice text, but we also need a precise text. We have the translation possibility, and we can measure the effectiveness, how is the text used, and how is the user behavior based on the text we generate. And in technology, in market research, there are different automated processes for copywriting. We drew up e-learning courses, different lighthouse projects in different industries that we analyzed, and all this merged into the solution we are presenting today. So that's been everything on my part. Thank you very much to the ministry again for giving us the idea, coming up with the idea to promote the local business. Thank you very much for supporting us and for supporting that undertaking. And also thank you very much to AX Semantics for the good cooperation between our team and your team. It's really been a pleasure. And now Robert, from data to deeds, from theory to practice, the floor is yours. And first off, we also enjoyed a lot. It's always great to cooperate with research institution and the academy, the academia, sorry. I was told to be a little more slowly, because for our guests from abroad, we have simultaneous interpreting. Well, this is coming from the booth. It's less the speed, it's more about being far away from the microphone. Tell me what to do if I'm doing it wrong, says the speaker. So what are we doing and why are we doing it? AX Semantics, we've been around for quite some time. And Daniel already presented this 2 years ago. We thought about the next big project and how are we going to call it and what is it? And it was called data-driven content operation.
Datengetrieben ist es in dem Fall doppelt. Es geht immer noch um
Data-driven,
Produktdaten zu
it's
Texten,
still about
diese Produktkommunikation
product
zu
data on
gestalten
text, product
und das
communication,
Ganze datengetrieben zu machen.
and
Das ist das,
to
was
do it in a
AX
data-driven
Semantics auch schon
manner.
früher gemacht
This
hat in
is what
den
AX Semantics also did in the
Data-to-Text,
past in the
Generation-Teilungen
data-to-text
aber es hat jetzt auch
natural
eine zweite
language generation part.
Kommunikation dazu,
But now we
das
have a
Thema Optimierung
second
der Texte,
presentation, and that is
datengetrieben zu
optimization of the
arbeiten für
text.
Redaktionen.
We work in a
Ja, das
data-driven,
heißt,
working in a data-driven
wir kennen das
way for
wahrscheinlich. In
editorial
den letzten Jahren ist es
departments.
immer größer geworden, aber wir kennen das in der
We
Historie schon
probably
länger. Der Text ist
know
zu
it from the
gründlich,
past, and
der Text ist zu
we
technisch,
know
zu
that from the
gemein,
past.
ja, oder jetzt
The
ist es
text
gerade
is
so,
too
das LLM halluziniert,
technical.
aber was ist Sunny für die Texte nicht?
The LLM is
Das heißt, wir haben im Prinzip das Problem,
hallucinating.
dass
Oh no, we're
wir
not going to take
keinen
those
Takt in den
texts.
Raum
So in principle, we have the
feststellen, ist dieser
problem
Text denn
that
jetzt eigentlich gut,
we
wirkt das seinen
don't
Zweck?
have
Ja? Der Zweck
facts
kann sein,
which
zu
can say if
verkaufen,
the
der kann zu
text serves the
informieren zu
purpose.
sein.
The purpose can
Redakteure
be to
sind im
sell the
Thema
text, to be
E-Commerce ganz stark.
informed, to
Also der Zweck ist immer das, was
to
wir damit
reduce
erreichen wollen.
returns.
Aber ich habe
That's
im Prinzip
strong in
wenig
e-commerce. So
Möglichkeiten
the
als
question is, what do I
Redaktion,
want to
das
achieve?
abgespielte
But I
Produkt
don't
in der
have many
täglichen Arbeit zu nutzen.
possibilities
Das ist das,
to
was wir
get a
Data-Driven Content
feedback
Operations nennen.
that I can take into
Mit dem gleichzeitigen Kern,
account
ich kann nur
in the
dann
editorial department.
Operations
This is
machen,
what
wenn
we
ich
call
automatisiere.
data-driven content
Ja?
operations,
Das
and I can
alles
only do that if I
zusammengefasst haben
automate.
wir,
So
der Ex-Summit,
all this taken together, all these features,
jetzt das
and
Produkt. Deswegen sind wir quasi
this is the name of a new product,
Ja?
Axite,
Wir
and
haben
this
die
is the
Anzahl der
product. That's why we're
Hashtags,
all
was
here
ist denn
for.
eigentlich Neues?
At the beginning of the week, we thought, what are we going to show which is new?
Das Produkt jetzt ja schon ein paar
Well,
Wochen und für uns sind die
we
Screenshots und
have
die Demos
known the
natürlich auch
product
schon
for
irgendwie
quite some time,
quasi
and the
alter Hut, aber das ist
screenshots
es ja
and
gar
the
nicht richtig.
demos.
Das ist ja wirklich
We're very familiar with
so.
that, but it's new to many others.
Also,
It's the
es
awesome
beginnt im
stuff,
Prinzip
so
damit,
to speak.
dass ich den Workflow
So
meiner
it all
Redaktion
starts
modelliere. Ja, das
with
heißt,
the
wie
workflow. I
arbeitet meine
model the
Redaktion?
workflow of my
Wie arbeiten
editorial
wir? Okay, hier
department.
kommen unsere
How does
Produktdaten
my
von irgendwie.
editorial
Und
department
dann
work?
haben
We've
wir
got
zwei
the product
unterschiedliche
data
Teile.
coming
Wir
from
haben einmal
somewhere,
unsere
and then we've got
High-Dollar-Produkte,
two
also unsere
different
teuren
areas.
Produkte, die
Our
schreiben wir von Hand.
expensive
Ja,
products,
und das
we
modelliere ich
write
hier
them
in
by
diesem
hand, and I model this in this
Aha,
workflow.
übersetzt in eine
I
DeepL, dann wird
say
das
that,
Produkt
okay, we
umgebucht
translate
und
it
dann
with
geht der live
DeepL,
in unserem Online-Shop
and
und in einem
then
Marketplace zum
it's
Beispiel.
live in our online store. We have
Das
two
ist so
different
das, was man
content variations,
das ist so die für die teuren Produkte.
and
Das zweite ist,
this
naja, die
is
nicht
for
so
the
teuren Produkte,
expensive
die lassen wir mal mit
products. And the
GPT
less
texten
expensive
oder
products,
mit
we
so einer
text them with
Deterministik-Generierung.
ChatGPT and a
Lassen die mal
deterministic
AB-Testing runterlaufen und
generation,
später auch entsprechend publizieren
and
auf den
then we publish them
Ja?
on
Das
the
heißt, im
platform.
Prinzip der Kern
So
ist,
this
wie sieht
means
eine
the
Redaktion
essence
aus? Wie ist
is,
sie
what
organisiert?
does
Und
an
nicht mehr
editorial
nur,
department
wir
look like?
machen
How
jetzt
is it
alles mit
organized?
GPT,
We're
wir
not
machen
saying
alles
we're
mit
going to do
Hand, wir
everything
machen
with
alles so.
ChatGPT. We're
Dann
all
kann
going
ich
to do
so eben für
going to
die
do
Teile,
everything
die mich
manually
nachher
or with AX. No,
interessiert, was jetzt hier
I
mit einem
use
AB-Test
proceed in a
konfiguriert und
targeted manner. I have configured an
das ist
A/B
quasi der
test so that I
Beginn.
have
Das
data.
Zweite, was
This
wir
is the
natürlich haben,
beginning.
ist,
The second thing we have,
ich muss dann
is that I need to work manually. Of course, I need to go through some text. That's one thing. That's what I need to do, the task review. As an editor, I have a task list, as we know that from other projects. But this is a very targeted and dedicated instruction. I have a workflow and the editorial department, and now we need automation. What do we need for the automation? In order to be able to publish autonomously, I have to be able to rely on that the copies, no matter how they were produced, that they are in line with my quality requirements. This means that the content needs to be such that it suits the product communication, but you also need to have the right style and meet the branding guidelines. You also have to abide by the language requirements and all that. So the customer has the possibility to deposit, to enter their goals and content requirements in the tool as a full text, as we know that from the manual. It's used by the editor writing the texts. He or she sees it in front of him or her when they write the text. LLM gets it as a prompt, and if I do it deterministically, I also have it in front of me. What are the things that I need to use? And second, translating it into technically valuable rules for a double check. Here, for instance, active language. The editor defines, I want an active language, and all the texts are double checked for that rule. You see it on the right-hand side. What if the rule is complied with? And if I have a score exceeding 90, it's done automatically. So I can enter my quality criteria and can ensure, depending on the industry I'm in, that certain words are not used. For instance, if I'm an online pharmacy, I can never say that this drug heals headache. This would be against the law. I can't say that. And this is information I can enter. So the second part, this refers, the first one was the content quality, and now it's the success measurement. Does my text give me the result I want to have? We have a measurement pixel included tracking the text, not the user, but the text is tracked. Did the text generate conversions, SEO traffic, revenue? That's the first level. And second, you see it at the top on the right-hand side, the customer has the possibility to also have information about metrics like returns and enter this information. Call center costs also, that's one typical example we've seen in customers. They did that themselves in the past and they integrated it, and they integrate it now and give the information back to the people in charge. Here you see the segment of the hats, you see that the conversions increased and the returns remained the same. 2 or 3 years ago, everybody in e-commerce was also searching for growth, and now they're also looking at the cost side, because it's of no good if I sell a lot and then it's returned. It's not good for the environment, and it's not good commercially. And with product communication, I can do this. I can make sure that the customers are informed properly. I can make sure that if I want to focus on selling a shirt, I wouldn't. There's certain information I would mention first because it's more important than other information. And this is something we want to focus on. And in Axite, it doesn't really matter what text creation processes I use. Of course, I can use the deterministic text generation like AX. If this is the same thing in an integrated manner, and I have the possibility to use an LLM for a certain segment in a test. I can use it, I can write texts manually, and I can rewrite them, and I can also include existing sources. And I can also test one thing against the other. It's an objective assessment. It's not like, oh, I don't like your text, this text is much better. No, these are facts, and product communication can be done in a way that it contributes to a customer's success. And here I have language generation. This takes into account the briefings we saw before, text planning one way or the other, and product data, because the facts from the product, of course, need to be included in the text, and then I can generate text proposals. And if it's good, it's good. The conventional AX generation is also included, of course, different languages, of course. Nothing has changed. You see that in green. And certain things, many things happened in the last couple of months. It's still important for precise copywriting. If I need a precise content in the if I want to have the electronic price tags and they have 13 characters, you have to do that. In the past, this was done in manually, and people were thinking about how to write these tags. And a machine can do that in a much better way, and that's what this can do. And then A/B testing, if you ever looked into A/B testing in e-commerce, there's a lot of testing going on. The cart colors, I don't know, shopping cart, how many colors were tested. But if I have the product detail pages where communication takes place about the product, I don't have that many page clicks, page views. So I have to make sure that all the products that are written with a certain methodology or with a certain category, this is what axite can do. I can do the measurement for many different texts or a lot of PDPs, and you have product fact boxes that we added, and you see the differences. And here I can proceed in a targeted manner. I can look at the impact of the changes I implemented in the texts. It will be integrated in the way in which we know it from AX and other systems. We have 2, 3 APIs and data and content from the existing systems. They will be used in the platform and administered, will be put back into the source systems, or will be distributed to different systems, retail or omnichannel. And on the other hand, I have the measurement pixel, which carries out the measurement of the text. And then I just have returns, for example, based on my BI system. What is important is automation optimization. This gives us the high quality we want, and we cannot if the portfolios are getting bigger and the language numbers are getting bigger, there's more and more text, and we need to raise productivity, because you will not hire 20 or 30 people to work in the content team. This is our content operations platform with the components we had: process management, workflow, QA, and steel controller, impact tracking, HB testing, translations, of course, globalization, localization, adaptation to local markets, different types of text generation, and we integrated in the APIs that there are. I don't have to replace systems, but I can just give it as an add-on. So that was a little bit a glimpse of what the future holds, but this is not the end. These are just ideas that we will be looking into in 2025. What we want to do is the PDP shall be designed graphically. To have pictures, because embedding multimedia in the PDP is getting more important. These are just some ideas we are playing with, but this is just these are just ideas. And if you have ideas, please feel free. And we've got something that we've had for quite some time from the existing customers, different data sources. I can mix them at product level already, and I can mix information into it from different sources in our platform, and then I see the results. And the editorial departments will be enabled. The customers who work with content generation, they don't always have access to IT in the way they want to. And this here accelerates the work because it can be done in the platform. So this has been it. Thank you very much. We're now going to start a Q&A session. So we're going to give answers. And for all those, the others, we're going to start the networking. Please talk to each other. I'm going to introduce some persons, and I had the feeling that it's good for them to get to know each other. Once the pizza oven is hot enough, thanks to our host, the Solute GmbH, we will have freshly made pizza and other beverages with and without alcohol, of course. So if you want to have a beer, cheers. I'm going to have one beer, that's for sure. That's a must because now this session is over. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being live on camera. I wish you a nice afternoon and evening. The Q&A session will be in English.
We'll just move to another room. You stay in the webinar. We'll come over to you. Right? Okay. So let's see who wants to join us on the stage or have questions in the QA tool. So okay, so there's a question in the chat. Feel free to raise your hands. We have Rash here. Hello. He leads the product effort and has actually the real answers. So I'll just try to answer questions if you want to. Sure. You can also, and keep following with the questions. So A/B test, so the same metrics basically that will be measured by the impact measurements. We currently have the traffic measurements like page views, then conversions, which can be defined on whatever a conversions on your end is. So add to basket or a click out rate for affiliate, something like that. That's the primary metric. So we try to keep it to a few metrics. And then of course the metrics that you push back from your BI systems. And it's the same for the impact measurement that can be tested for A/B tests. As mentioned earlier, this is especially for grouping and segmenting. So basically that's it to say on this. And how long it will take to implement Axite? There is some work that needs to be done on integrations and configurations, but to be up and running in 4 weeks or something should be fine. Basically, it depends on the customer IT. We need to do some configuration on our end and finalizing the software components that you need and then show it and train a little bit of your people. But you don't have to put anything in because the first thing that will be done is we loop through your existing content through the system and start with a measurement, and that can be done in a few days. In terms of life, so we are now starting onboarding the first pilot customers. So the November is kind of full with integration on our side end. But all customers, we have already a queue of customers that will start with workshops in November. And I think beginning of November, there's 3 slots for the next ones. So feel free to push us for a schedule on that. But this is basically, it's from a product perspective, while the colors are new and everything else is new and the UI is new, it reuses a lot of the stuff that we have done over the last few years. Of course, we've re-implemented stuff, but especially on the metrics end, which basically does not share any code with the old ones. But the ideas and the customer feedback that has come from those kind of prototypes and the existing stuff, all those stuff went in. We have a question, is AX Semantics suitable for online magazine articles? So not only text for PDPs or shop pages. Yes, if you publish a few hundred of those, that would be worthwhile. This is for, we look at primarily at scaled communications. And it's always a kind of like related to data. So this product data is at the core because of most of our customers that come from retail and online e-commerce or like looks for offline. But so any kind of data sort of you have. So we have customers, for example, who have a lot of local subsidiaries and publish that in weekly news articles and stuff like that. So it's possible, but would be kind of interesting to look at the use case if there is some data to go through. Because the core it's still a data-driven application in terms of data input. but we know that there are magazines online that have, for example, product-related content. There's a customer who does that has the product content and puts special articles out for every for special products. So it is possible. Means you look a little bit of a use case. Great, thank you for joining, and see you around. Yeah.
Have a nice evening.
Have a nice evening. Bye.